Hi, thanks for watching. This is a video of a trip I took from the Caribbean to San Francisco through the Panama Canal. Primarily, it's mostly the Panama Canal transit, but it was shot on a cell phone, so it's a little grainy, so excuse the grainy video. I think you'll enjoy it, and at the end, stick around because I talk about keel shapes and keel designs. And if you're a couple or a family looking to go extensive voyaging, offshore traveling, my feelings about certain type of keels that you should stay away from, in my opinion. So do watch the end and look forward to your comments. This wasn't a result of dinner. This was the result of flying off a 20-foot wave in a carbon fiber boat and landing with such a crash that this porcelain toilet exploded. So here with this forward-facing bulb keel. Limited size as far as the forward protrusion of the bulb itself on this design. But most designs, the bulb will come out, it'll be a full torpedo type keel, and it'll extend a good way forward. And those are to be avoided at all costs, in my opinion. It's like sailing around with a catcher's mitt under the boat. So this is one thing I would definitely steer away from, and for a number of reasons, not just because it will pick up anything floating in the ocean, any type of ropes or line or fishing nets, but also the attachment point. So you have limited length of keel to attach to the hull. In this case, this isn't a flange keel cord, it's a keel stub that's just bolted directly into the hull structure. So with a flange keel, you have a wider attachment point. It spreads the load out better. It's more expensive in manufacturing of the hull and of the keel itself, but it's a better option because it does spread that load. Here you have keel bolts going through this strut and then into the members in the hull. There are a lot of sailboats that are on the market that are being marketed as cruising yachts with these type of bulb keels, these forward-facing bulb keels, and I definitely would not recommend anything like that. So on this trip, we were sailing along off the coast of Central America, and we were doing about 16, 17 knots when we hit an industrial fishing net, a massive, massive fishing net that was just discarded or lost in the water. And we hit that again at speed, and we dropped down to about 3 knots, 2 knots, and abruptly, for 2-inch, 3-inch diameter nylon lines on that fishing net, completely wrapped around the keel and in a seaway. So the boat is drifting sideways at 1.5, 2 knots, going back and forth as the keel is doing about a 20-foot arc underwater as you're trying to cut this off. It was extremely dangerous for everybody involved, and it could have ripped the keel off. But luckily that boat was very stoutly built. And any lesser boat, this was a 150-foot carbon fiber boat, any lesser boat, it would have done severe damage. As a friend of mine experienced in the Indian Ocean. He was running a boat for an owner. It was an Italian yacht with a forward-facing bulb. And they had gotten through the Torres Straits into the Indian Ocean, hit something that wrapped around the keel, broke the keel off, and the boat flipped over within, he said, within 5 minutes, that boat was upside down and sinking. And they had enough time just to throw the life raft in the water, grab the ditch bag, and get in the life raft, where they stayed for 9 days. 9 days in the life raft in the Indian Ocean without much to eat at all. And yeah, it was just a bitterly dicey situation for them. So they almost died. It was just him and his girlfriend, and the boat sank immediately. So again, not the favorite option for short-handed cruising. Yes, it's definitely fast. It's got its advantages in the right situation, but not something I would recommend for cruising or voyaging. There's other ways to go about this. A little more wetted surface, but having the keel at an angle and a larger attachment point for the head of the keel cord itself on a flange. And so an angle and then a swept back keel, so there's no obstruction. Anything can just slide right off the keel that you run into, because the question is if the oceans are getting cleaner or are the oceans getting dirtier, and we all know the answer to that. So a swept back keel at an angle, and you can have a bulb at the bottom that extends past the keel. It keeps the ballast low and maximizes the riding moment. So that's a great option and something I would definitely pick over a forward-facing torpedo keel.